have a pretty interesting presentation today, actually, and we're gonna work this the best we can so we can incorporate our guest speaker in here, but okay. I want to. We have a situation here where a lot of prejudice has been generated. Wouldn't you agree, against people that are categorized as disabled? And I don't know if everybody was there when Dave said hi to Delano, but I want you to just say hi to all the people now that they're there, Dave. Hi. Okay, Dave is our guest speaker today, and I want everybody to be as honest as possible, and give me your input. Is it safe to assume that, and are you ready to be honest? And Delano too, you guys. Yeah, no, I am real open about everything. Okay, did you guys understand him here? Mm-hmm. Now, in Delano, could you understand Dave? Yes. You could? What did he say? Thank you. And who's doing the talking there? And what's your name? Ricardo. Thank you, Ricardo. Yeah, good man. Maybe you can kind of be the spokesperson for those folks up there. And now listen, you suckers up there in Delano, damn it, I want you to talk again. Yeah. Now, hey, listen, no kidding. I've heard that. Now listen, you're part of this class, right? Huh? Okay. Now, if you have something to say, huh? Now, if you have, now, we don't just. I mean, you know, we love you. Do you understand that? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I gotta put you guys on the board so they can see it, because they don't know who they're loving, and that can be dangerous. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay. 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 Here now, I'm going to show you our folks just briefly here for a minute, so you can love each other and talk to each other. Okay. God. I don't know if we're going to get through this. Okay. Okay, now you can see them. These are our lovely students. I'll just kind of pan over them, and let's see here. Okay, see, there they are there. Now wave, Bakersfield. Wave to Delano. Okay, now you guys wave back. Okay, now this is, I know you might think this is kind of crazy, but dang it, it's necessary. Don't you like it better? It gets you involved. Hey, you know, I don't know if you suckers are up there in the back row up there in Delano falling asleep on us. We don't want that, huh? Right? Okay, now we're going to go back to our guest speaker. Okay. That's where we want it. Okay. Okay. Okay, now I'm turning. Okay. Okay. Okay, now I want you to be honest, okay? Everybody be honest. Have you ever looked at somebody like Dave? Now he's in a chair down here. I don't know if you can see this chair or not. Here, I'll get down on my knees so maybe the camera will follow me down here. Okay, see? He's in a chair right here, right? Okay, now, how many of you have seen somebody in a wheelchair like this? Somebody talk like Dave? Go ahead and wave at him again. Show him. Okay, now look at the way his hands, he's got loss of coordination and spasticity in his movements. How many of you, now I want you to be honest, I mean up there and down here too, have seen somebody like this and shunned them or shied away from them and maybe avoided them on purpose or walked around them? I mean, I want you to be honest with me, and if you need some encouragement or some guts, I'm going to be the first one to raise my hand. I've done all that stuff. How many of you have ever thought maybe, he looked at somebody like Dave Hurd and thought maybe, I wonder if he's retarded. I wonder, if he can function like the rest of. He's had people come up to him and yell at him before because they thought he couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And tell him what you do.
I did that myself. When they yell at me, I yell like that.
Did you hear what he said? When they yell at him, he yells right back. He's got ears for crying out loud. Okay, so you hear him talk. You wonder, why does he talk that way? Maybe he didn't learn speech right or something. Maybe he's, maybe he doesn't have all his marbles. Maybe, hey, what about a guy like this also? Could he exercise? Can he work out? Can he, what about relationships with people? Could he have a date? How about the babes? Could he have sex? Could he have kids? Could he ever get married? I don't know. Am I the only guy that has this kind of curiosity about folks like this? You see him going around on campus. What about who's taking care of him? I mean, the welfare state. Can he fend for himself? Can he have a job? Have you folks ever thought any of that stuff? I have. Gosh, I'm glad to see. God, they're all nodding here in class. You guys are my friends, my pals. I identify with you, man. That's great.
I just did that myself.
And did you hear what Dave just said? Dave said that he's done that himself. So, in other words, when he's seen people. So, what we're here today is to diffuse a little bit of this. And one of the things that I'd like to trying to camera. Yeah. Okay, there we go. One of the things that I'm trying to do is dispel some of these myths. First of all, I would like to, as far as employability is concerned and intellect is concerned, I want Dave to tell you about a job that he had. It's going to blow you away. Go ahead.
I used to work for the government for the Bureau of Land Management.
Okay, you worked. Did you understand Delano, who he worked for? So he worked for the government, and what branch? Did you catch that? The Bureau of Land Management. Okay, now I'd like him to tell you what he did there.
They hired me as a computer programmer.
What did they hire him as? You guys get that up there? Okay, cool. Can you guys in the back hear up there too? Okay, good. Yeah, go ahead and just not, yeah. You guys are all right. You guys are all right. We want to make sure you get this because this is really important because, I mean, there's discrimination against people of all races, colors, and creeds, and I'll tell you this, there's not a lot of heavier discrimination against people that are disabled. I don't care what color you are. I mean, we got a couple of stories to tell that will curl your hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, if it's not already curly. Anyway, okay, go ahead. They hired him as a computer programmer. Now, I don't know if you understand quite what computer programming entails, but that's not just where you turn on a computer and work it like we do. We're the end users. He's the guy that actually designed programs, and to do that you have to do these unbelievable schematics. And since, hold your hand up again for he can't write, he's got did everything in his brain. And as far as, what about computer languages, Dave?
I know 8 different languages.
Wait a minute, Delano, how many different languages does he know? 8. Right on, man. You guys are okay. Okay. Anyway, now I don't know if you know what a computer language is, but a kid raised his hand in the last class, and he said it took him like 2 years to learn one. I mean, we're talking about Fortran, COBOL, C, OPG, Unix, stuff like that. These complicated languages for technical and software and stuff. Now, okay, you guys, you saw his hands, you saw how he moves. How in the deuce is this guy going to work a dang computer? Any guesses? Well, first of all, don't let Delano guess. How does this guy work a computer? Delano, got any ideas? No. What did you say? Nose?
No, they said no.
Oh, you said no. Okay. So you raise your hand back there. His mouth? No, it's not the mouth. Almost. It's close. Yeah. Who said that? Did you say nose? Yeah. Yeah. She got it right. It is his nose. He's got a hell of a beak on him, and he knows how to use it, man. As a matter of fact, this is true. I swear to God. I swear this is a true story. Listen to this, you guys. I took him to my house, for lunch after one of my classes when we were doing this. We've been doing our dog and pony show here now for years. And
he's the dog.
yeah, I'm the dog. He's the pony. I've been a dog. I've been a dog all my life. Anyway, I like dogs. I used to raise dogs. But anyway, where was I anyway? Before you so rudely interrupt me. Oh yeah, my house. We were at my house, and so I have a deal hooked up to my stereo system called a DCR, digital cable radio. You know what it is? Yeah, it comes through this. It's really a cool deal, and he knew all about it. So there's a deal where you could dial a number. They modify it all the time. This is where you could, and then buy the CDs that are playing. So he said, put the phone in front of me. You know how regular phone, a little tiny keypad about like that? I put the phone in front of him. I wish we had one to demonstrate on here. I'd get down on my knees, and he can put his snoot right down on the phone, and I hear this beep, 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 beep. And I thought, you got to be kidding me, man. You're joking. I listened, ring, ring. Sure enough, this is digital cable radio. And I said, I'll be damned. And he tells me he can do, have you ever seen a calculator wristwatch? One of those calculators. Now, I don't believe that one. I'll have to see that one to believe it. But anyway, I want him to tell you a little bit about how far advanced he got with the Bureau of Land Management and a project that he did. And this is a real mind blower. Okay, they made him a computer technician too. And the thing, tell him about the $6 million project.
About 2 years ago, we had to make a $6 million computer system for the whole state of California. And then we're only 8 people out of the whole state on a team. I was one of the 8.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and translate a little bit in case. Did most of you pick that up? Okay, hey, just out of curiosity, some of you are going like this and some of you are going like this. How many did get that? Now, how many? Hold on. Now, be honest with you. How many of you folks would let this sucker drive your car? I don't see any hands in hell. I wouldn't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm thinking about it more. That's something I saw. That's something I wish I had on videotape. One of these days I'm going to record it. It's one of the most unbelievable things I ever saw. Is this sucker driving a car?
Yeah, I know.
He's got a license.
Yeah.
And so he had to pass a test. It's one of the most unbelievable things I'd ever seen because he doesn't have fine motor coordination. Now, I didn't tell you exactly. I saved it till now to tell you what Dave had, why Dave speaks the way he is, why he's lost his fine motor movement. First, anybody in Delano, you want to venture a guess on what Dave has? Let's give Delano a try first. What was that? Ricardo, go ahead and tell us what she's... All right, right on. Who said that? Raise your hand, whoever guessed. And what's her name? Sandra? Way to go, Sandra. We can see you back there. Okay, anyhow, he's got cerebral palsy. Does anybody actually know what cerebral palsy is, besides maybe Sandra? Okay, cerebral palsy is where there's a lack of oxygen to the brain sometime shortly after birth or during the birth process. It's not genetic or congenital or anything like that. In Dave's case, his mother was given, I think it was Valium, and his brain didn't get oxygen for about 5 minutes. Now, you know, your brain needs oxygen more than any other organ of your body. You know, you can cut your arm off if they find that sucker and they can sew it back on and it might work. Did you know that? Because muscle tissue, for example, can survive longer. But brain tissue is a little different. And a couple of the first functions to leave a person are your fine motor coordination, and in his case, it affected his speech, okay? Now, other than that, Dave is just like any one of us. And probably the best analogy I have to describe that is, let's say you sat in here, you saw this, and you got something out of it. You walked out, you got in your car, you headed towards the cross-town freeway, you're going down Chester Avenue, and some drunk comes flying through there, nails you, and causes damage in the exact same areas of the brain Dave has. You'd be in the exact same situation. You see what I mean? Then you might understand the discrimination a little bit better. You're who you are inside. Your normal thoughts, your normal feelings, your normal sexuality, your normal brains and everything encased in this situation. Okay, does that make sense to you? Delano too? Okay, now, okay, so this guy's obviously, this guy's a genius in order to be able to construct that. You might say, well, how did he get that way? Tell him a little bit about your dad, because intellect and intelligence is a large part influenced by your genetics. Tell him about Dad, and then you'll understand.
My dad, he engineer for the Air Force.
Okay, I'll go ahead and interpret that one there. Electrical engineer in the Air Force. Okay?
He helped design the B-1 bomber and the F-111 fighter.
Okay, did you catch what his dad was in the electrical engineering in the Air Force? Did you catch what his dad helped design? Yeah, the B-1 bomber and the F-111 fighter. So his dad is no dummy, needless to say. And he worked with Dave when Dave was little. Now tell him what the doctors had told your parents when you were born.
Took me away and that I wouldn't amount to anything.
Did you hear that up there? They said they told him to put Dave away in an institution, that he'd never ever amount to anything. So he's proved him wrong on that point.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, here, just give me your hand for a second. If I can almost, well, this is going up, I can almost pull him up out of this wheelchair by one arm. That's how strong this guy is. He's got, boy, he about dug a hole in my hand. He's got gross strength. You understand? In other words, if you put him on a bench press or a leg press, it's harder for him to get his hands on the bar than it is for him to push a bar up. Does that make sense? But once he does, tell him how much you bench on the machine down there, on a universal gym machine. You guys know what a universal gym is? Go ahead, tell him. Did you catch that, you guys? 2:30.
And I lay for around 400.
Did you guys catch that? Okay. Can you hear him okay? But it's the interpretation, right? Okay, this is a microphone right here. Okay. He leg presses with his legs about 400 pounds on the universal machine. So it's the fine motor movement. So actually, we got a couple stories. He could actually come flying out of his wheelchair, and if he did that to Bill Parker, a guy up in the mailroom one time. I mean, he's like an octopus. I mean, he gets a hold of you, man, and you're dead meat. So, because he's got that gross strength. He even used to fool around with the wrestling team up at Madeira High School. He used to go out and wrestle and wrestle. As far as discrimination is concerned, that's one of the real reasons we're here. This is a good story. And then we can segue into one that I think our local police officers back there will probably get a kick out of. But anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, we got a question here. Okay, we'll go ahead and address this first. Okay, we'll address. You just remember, we'll segue into it, and then that's a dead giveaway for. I don't think they heard you. Okay, what about a guy like this? Dates, women, sex, all of these things that go along with life. First of all, well, I'm going to go ahead and do a giveaway here. Dave happens to be married right now, but before he was married, tell him how you used to get chicks.
I used to go on the bike trail.
He used to go on the bike trail in his motorized wheelchair.
Women always came up to me, asked me if they would ride along with me, and by the end of the bike I would have their name and number.
Did you catch that? He'd be tooling along. Now, his other chair has a big old boom box on the back of it. Have any of you guys ever seen Dave at all? I don't know. Yeah. And so he cruised along the bike path, and that's one neat thing about women. He's probably lucky because women seem to have more nurturing, more compassion, and so on. Wouldn't you pretty much go along with that? And so they'd come up and alongside him, and they'd be jogging or riding a bike, and they'd kind of cruise along and just get talking to him, and he'd end up with a phone number. Hey, the guy's married. Okay, now talk about the sex part. What would you guess might be evidence that this guy is an animal? Huh? Okay, go ahead and tell him.
I have two women. I have a 15-year-old and a 19-month-old boy.
Okay, did you catch? He has a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old, 19-month-old. I'm sorry, 19 month. A 15-year-old and a 19-month-old boys from different women. Okay, so I mean, this guy ain't no different in that sense than the average American, right? I mean, he conforms with the marriage rate and the divorce rate when we get into it, right on down the line. So this guy couldn't be no more normal except for his cerebral palsy. You got the idea?
I've been married before.
He's been married before. Well, let's go ahead and just give him two little instances of discrimination. When he was married before, he was on his honeymoon, and his wife was also in a chair, and they were waiting to go on a boat cruise, and there were two ladies standing behind him. And tell him what happened.
We were in Hawaii, and there were two ladies in the back, and they were talking, and they were
Did you guys catch that? The ladies behind them said, "Gee, I wonder if they know where they are, or know what they're doing." How humiliating in the first place. I mean, I'd be a little ticked myself, but he didn't hear him. But his wife turned around and said, "Yeah, we know where we are and what we're doing, and you know what? We can make love too." So that was, yeah, that told him a thing or two. So I definitely think there has to be more. I think excuse me. That's I told you about my accident, right? That's the accident stuff. There has to be more education for folks like this. You agree like that? For us about folks like this. Okay, here's another one. The cops are going to like this one. Okay, hey, Dave, about your date. Discrimination and date. Okay, this is before he's married. Dave's on a hot date at Trout's Bar. Have any of you folks in Delano ever heard of Trout's Bar?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now are you from Delano?
Yeah, I live in Oildale.
Oh, you live in Oildale. Well, I guess that's kind of like Delano, huh? No, anyway, Trout's Bar. Now, I'm not going to try to be parent ego state or disparaging, and I apologize if I am, but it's kind of considered maybe like a Okie redneck type bar, and Trout's Bar is in Earldale, right down the street here, and Trout's Bar is some place that people that are a little different than the residents of that area might be a little taking a chance by going in this bar. But anyway, I don't know what Dave was doing there. Maybe he can tell you about it. But anyway, he's sitting in there with his date, and what happened next is pretty ugly.
We were minding our own business, right? And this guy about two came over, talking to my dad.
This guy about 6'2", 230 comes over and starts talking to his date.
He was talking about me, and why are you with a guy like that?
He was talking about Dave. What are you doing with a guy like that?
Why don't you put me out?
He says, "Why don't you come with me and I'll show you what a real man can do."
And by that time, I had like 3 or 4 beers.
By that time, he had about 3 beers, and David had about 3 beers. And go ahead, Dave.
I'm getting hot about it, and I told him, why don't you go before I do something you might regret?
He tells the guy, "Why don't you go now before I do something you might regret later?"
And he didn't. At that time, I had a wheelchair that weighed about 500 pounds.
At that time, he had a wheelchair, one of those big iron, old-fashioned ones that weighed about 500 pounds with all the batteries and the steel and stuff.
I got over his foot. I sat there for a minute.
Put that sucker in reverse and backed over his foot.
And he did not like that.
Okay, now, here's what happened next. This is where it gets nasty.
He had a big ball, hit me over my forehead with the ball.
Hit him over the head with a long neck bud.
That made me...
Opened up his eye, right? Left over his left eye.
That made me pissed off.
Made him pissed off. Yeah.
So I whipped my tail around right in front of the guy. him right in the donut.
You got the idea? He whipped the wheelchair around facing him. He said, all right, you're asking for it. And he hit him right in the gonads. You know what gonads are? Huevos, whatever. Okay. Okay, so anyway, and the guy bent over, and then what happened next?
I flew out of my chair, knocked him down on the ground, not beating the crap out of him.
Now remember how strong Dave is. He doesn't have fine motor coordination, but this guy had been drinking too, and he got this guy in one of his octopus holds and got him out. Tell him what it took to pry you off of him. Two bouncers in his date. Hey, is this true? I heard you were banned from Trouts after that. Is that true? I wonder if she could scream discrimination, or I wonder if it was, you know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, that's a good story. But now, to segue into what these guys might be interested in, he had a favorite haunt or a place he hung out. What was it? Guthrie's? Guthrie's downtown. He whipped back and up down his wheelchair. Now tell him your little run-in with the cops.
They got me and gave me a deal. They got me right when I got down in the alley.
Right down in the what?
In the alley of Guthrie.
The what? Oh, in the alley.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Hey, now, our police officers would never do anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. He was in his wheelchair.
Yeah.
No, they in his wheelchair. Did you guys catch that part? He was in his chair. Yeah. And the deal is, for a cop, it would be. We got another cop story since these guys are here. You've got to tell him this cop story. Okay, now. This is a pretty unbelievable. That was bad cop. Now we got a good cop story. We got a wonderful cop. He happened to be a CHP. Now here's a good cop story.
I had an old 57 VW bus.
He had an old what? 57 VW bus.
Yeah.
Bus. It's like a the bus. Yeah.
The hippie bus.
Yeah. Hippie van. Remember the hippie flower child type van? Okay. Hey man, it had 4-speed and everything, clutch and all that kind of stuff.
When I was dating my ex-wife, I lived in Fresno, and she lived down in L.A.
When he was dating his ex-wife, he lived in Fresno, she was living in L.A.
I drove back and forth every week. I would bring her up to Fresno and then go back down and head home and come back.
He drove from Fresno to L.A. and back every weekend twice, once to pick her up and once to take her home. And then tell him about your little run-in.
One time I was going down there, and I'm about halfway over the grapevine, and the highway patrol pulled me over for one of my lights was out.
One of his tail lights was out in the back, and the highway patrol pulled him over on the grapevine.
And he came up at me for my light and radio, and the way I talk and the way I move, he thought I was drunk.
Okay, he asked him for his license and his registration, And the way he was talking and the way he moved, he thought Dave was drunk. Hey, I wonder how many brewskis it'd take to emulate that. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
He asked me to get out.
Then he asked him to get out of there.
I can't do that.
Told him he couldn't do that.
And why not?
He asked him why not.
Put your head in my window and look in the back.
He said put his head in the window and look in the back.
And he did that. So my will.
And he saw the chair back there.
He goes, oh. You have a boom out and like get it fit and he
Yeah, he said you have a burnt out tail light, get it fixed and let him go. Good cop story. That's the kind of officers we have in here. The protectors of the public. Right here. Way to go, guys. Yeah. That's Candy in the glasses, and that's Robert in the hat right there. So, it's not what you know, it's who you know, pal. Okay? You never can tell. If you see him in a squad car, it doesn't hurt to know the right people. Okay, anyway, so what have we learned here today? I don't know. I guess that we talked about just about everything. We talked about intellect. We talked about like getting grades. As a matter of fact, COBOL, was it COBOL class that guy was talking about? Pretty complicated. I had a guy in one of my health classes that was getting in Dave's COBOL class, which is a computer program. It's one of those classes where you got 40 people start, like 5 people end up, He said Dave got the highest grade in the class. So we know about that. Job, worked for the BLM, designed computer systems, was on a...
I got my own business right now. I retail and I build computers.
He's got his own business now. He builds and repairs computers. He doesn't work for the BLM now. He's married. He's married to a gal named Tracy, who's in my 12:30 Monday-Wednesday class, and they have and this. Now, we were talking about the sex and reproduction and stuff like that. I swear, this is really true. His little boy, Zach, is one of the best-looking kids I've ever seen. He's smart. He's telling that story about Zach when he was 9. This is when he was 9 months old.
I write with my mouth. I know.
Sometimes he writes with his mouth.
And at 9 months old, he got a pencil and paper, sat on the floor, put the pencil in his mouth, and tried to write like I wrote.
Yeah, did you catch that? Zach got a paper and pencil, came out at 9 months. Now, I want to go. I want to go ahead and give you guys we got just a couple minutes. If you have any questions, please. Or you folks in Delano, if you're curious about anything or want to know anything about Dave's life or anything.
Let me have it.
Yeah, he says, let me have it. If you have anything at all. Did somebody got a question up there? Yes, he lives in Bakersfield. And at this time, he has some help that helps with the baby. And Tracy, his wife, has cerebral palsy too, but she can talk. Her speech wasn't affected as much as Dave's, and she can use her arms, but her legs are non-functional, so she's in a chair too. Yes, Aaron?
Okay, you said he was able to do like the leg presses and stuff?
Yes.
Now would he be able to, if someone like helped him walk, would he be able to take a couple steps? You are able to do that?
Walking is, I notice he's on his toes a lot. like when I lift him, like I went and picked him up this morning because it was raining and stuff and less convenient. And when I pick him up, he helps me raise up on his legs. I hurt my back in there weightlifting last week. I got a little over enthusiastic, and it helps me. So he can do that, but he can't walk by himself.
I don't have the balance.
Doesn't have the balance.
But if someone hold me up, I can get my own way and walk.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, you folks in Delano, too, I don't know how this came across to you guys up there, but, and at the same time, I'll be asking our guys down here, just having Dave in here today, did that do anything at all to, I mean, maybe change your perception or maybe the way you feel about, you know, somebody that has a disability, or maybe how to approach them? I'm going to go ahead and have Dave just go ahead and kind of give a little kind of advice on how to deal with people with disabilities. Dave, just give them your... Oh yeah, she asked a question. Ask about Zach and if he's normal. He's totally normal. Remember, this isn't genetic. This is something like a umbilical cord tangled around. It could have happened to us if our mothers took a drug. It's like for alcohol babies, babies that have had obstructions or blockages that have cut off their oxygen. You get that part? So this guy's seed is pretty powerful. I mean, you ought to see little Zach, man. Little Zach is a little stud. He really is. He's gifted. I mean, this sucker is intelligent. Well, look at the brains this guy's got. I mean, that's passed on to that kid. That dang kid is, he could probably be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, anything he wants. See? So it didn't affect him. So, Dave, what about how should we treat people that have disabilities? We're walking down the street. We're walking across campus. We see somebody like yourself. We see somebody in a chair. We see somebody that's blind. What do we do?
You remember that we are people who we have the same word in the three are like you want anyone out there. If you see someone and they might need help, don't shy away. Ask them if they need help. If they don't, they'll tell you. And there are people out there that have a big chip on their shoulder and won't want your help. But that ain't your fault. That is their own fault.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and summarize it for those of you who maybe didn't catch it. I'll just treat folks with disabilities like anybody else. They got the same wants, same needs, same feelings inside. And if somebody needs your help, go ahead and offer help, because even though they can do it themselves, one of my problems in not helping somebody was I was afraid that they would get mad at me for thinking that I had pity on them or something. And Dave says if somebody gets after you, that's their problem, not yours. Does that make sense? So you just go ahead and offer your help and compassion. And I think that was okay. I'd like to. I hope this went over okay. I hope you folks in Delano. I hope this went over okay up there for you guys too. And I just like to thank Dave for coming in. Let's give him a little round of applause. So if we've helped just a few people open their eyes with people with disabilities, I think we've done a good job. Got one last comment. I had a lady in a class, summer school class. We had Dave come in, and after class she came up and started apologizing to Dave and I after this same thing. And we looked at her kind of funny. You know, what are you apologizing for? She said she'd gone to her little daughter's elementary school, and told the teacher that she didn't want her little girl entering school in the same classroom as any of those freaks, because she said she didn't want her little girl to be scared. You could see how maybe a little kid might be initially maybe scared. So she said, I'm going to go back to the principal today. I'm going to tell her not only am I going to apologize to her for what I said, I request that my daughter be enrolled in classes with kids with disabilities so she can learn to be more compassionate. Don't you think that's cool? And if just one person in every class could have a turnaround like that, I think our presentation would be well worth it. What do you guys think? Okay, well, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a nice weekend.